Hello everyone, good morning. Today, my name is Ryan. I'll be talking about Angular Developers Guide. This is an archive document from Angular version 17. That's a disclaimer. As an application framework, Angular includes a collection of well-integrated libraries and cover a wide variety of features. The Angular library includes routing, form management, client-server communication, and more. This topic lists the various developer guide for you to learn more about Angular features and to help you determine the correct use of each in your application. Prerequisite: what is Angular? Getting started with tutorials, understanding Angular. I did learn most of this, so the next one would be so there are learn more about Angular features. We have routing and navigation. Learn how to use Angular routes to handle page navigation and other tasks. There is forms. Learn about two approaches to forms in Angular: template driven and reactive. HTTP. Learn how to connect to a server using HTTP client service in Angular. Testing. Learn about tips and tricks for testing Angular applications. Internalization. Learn how to localize your Angular application like I18N and localize. Animations. Learn about how to add an animation to your Angular application. Service workers and PWA. So, service workers and progressive web apps. We'll also check web workers. Learn more about how to use a web worker to run a CPU intensive computation in a background thread. Server-side rendering. Learn more about how to use Angular SSR to create a static application page. Pre-rendering. Learn about how to use pre-rendering to process a dynamic page at build time. We are finished with overview. Let's jump into standalone application. Getting started with the standalone component. Component provides a simplified way to build Angular application. Standalone components, directives, and pipes aim to streamline the authoring experience by reducing the need of ng models. Existing application can optionally incrementally adopt the new standalone style without any breaking changes. Create a standalone component by this is a YouTube video for standalone components. The standalone flag and component imports, directive and pipes can now be marked as a standalone true. Angular classes marked as standalone do not need to be declared in a ng module. The Angular compiler will report an error if you try. Standalone components specify their dependencies directly instead of getting them through ng module. For example, if photo gallery component is a standalone component, it can directly import another standalone component, image grid component. For example, standalone true selector photo grid imports image grid component, and image grid can be used in the template. Imports can also be used to reference standalone directives and pipes. In this way, standalone components can be written without the need to create an ng module. To manage template dependencies, using existing ng module is a standalone component. When writing a standalone component, you may want to use other components, directives, or pipes in the component template. Some of these dependencies might not be marked as standalone, but instead declare and export an existing ng module. In this case, you can import ng module directly into your standalone component. For example, at the rate component, we have standalone true selector photo gallery. An existing module is imported directly into the standalone component. Is it imports mat button module template? Directly we are importing a standalone module. You did not mention import ng module. Where is the? You can use standalone component with existing ng module based libraries or in dependencies in your template. Standalone components can take full advantage of existing ecosystem and Angular libraries. Bootstrapping an application using a standalone component. Configure dependency injection, standalone provider. Uh, Many third-party libraries also update or support this provide the function routing and lazy loading. The API routes were included and simplifies to take advantage of the standalone. Lazy loading a standalone component. Any route can lazy load its routed component by using load component. This works long as the loaded loading many routes at once. A load children option now supports loading a new site with a child. Lazy loading and default exports. When using load children and load component, the router understands the automatically unwrapped commands. Import calls in default exports, providing service to subset of routes. Advanced topics. This section goes in more detail with relative dependency injection in hierarchy. Then there is standalone injectors. How do we inject an existing date picker component with an ng module? Then date picker is as follows. This kind of import may result in an infinite recursion during component installation. Make sure that this recursion has an exit condition that stops it at some point. I think we covered the developer's guide for Angular for the first two components. In the next session, we will target migration to standalone, change detection, routing, forms, HTTP clients, and many more. Thank you for streaming in. Bye.